Rolling.
Awesome. Thomas Lenzen, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Perry, it's a pleasure and honor to be on a podcast. I'm really happy that we speak.
Same. Yeah, we've been talking about this for a while. I'm glad we finally made it happen in this beautiful space in Thailand before you leave to go back to Germany, which kind of ties into a little bit about you. So you are from Germany. You're a medical doctor. Your background is in neurology and psychiatry, and you're pivoting now into kind of this fatigue space, which I think is a very emerging, space within the medical field for a lot of reasons. And I know that you have your own specific reasons for that.
Yes.
So I'd love to, maybe introduce yourself and explain a little bit about why you chose to pivot in the medical field.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. That's a perfect introduction. That's maybe the most important things to know about me. And how did I get into fatigue? And maybe what is fatigue in the first place? So fatigue is kind of a state where you're constantly exhausted. Now, you and me are all maybe tired, exhausted, a little bit low on energy from some time. And then usually when we take some rest and when we, slow things down, we recover and we get back to our usual energy. Mm-hmm. But now when you have fatigue, it's kind of like as if your cell phone battery is like permanently can only reach 20%. And it will also lose its energy very fast. So your baseline energy that you have is diminished, and you're in this constant state of exhaustion that accompanies you pretty much the whole day.
Wow.
Yeah. And how did I get into it? Well, it was actually, I experienced it myself firsthand. So I got very sick in 2021 when I had my COVID infection. And, before I got it myself, I didn't really know much about fatigue. And I think that actually goes for many medical doctors. It's not really a big topic that medical doctors know much about or psychotherapists know much about. So before I got COVID, I was like, it's probably not going to be so bad for me. I was having a healthy lifestyle. I was pretty fit. And I thought, it will be like a flu and I will most likely recover from it like really well. That's not what happened.
What did happen?
So I got sick. I had high temperature and so on for a few days. And I found myself, I did not recover for many, many months. Essentially, it took my whole journey was like more than 2 years with very, very low energy. And it kind of warped me from being 40 to feeling like being 90. I had just very, very little energy. And that went on for many, many, many months. And that was my first-hand experience with fatigue myself, and which made me so interested in it. And some part of that journey was also in 2022 when we first met.
I remember.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize something was different? That this is not getting better? Besides, the fever's gone, but I'm still tired all the time. Yeah. Like, at what point did you realize something's different?
Maybe a month or so after the initial infection, I was like, wow, something's really different than anything I had ever experienced before.
And what did you do about that?
Well, I went to see my primary healthcare physician. Mm-hmm. And he was like, it can take time. And, he didn't really know what to tell me. Mm-hmm. I didn't really know what to tell me. Yeah.
So what is that perspective within the medical field from medical doctors about fatigue? It sounds like something that they're not very aware of.
No, and to be honest, I wasn't really aware of it myself. When I was still working in a hospital and working with patients, I was actually working with many patients that had fatigue because I was working in neurology. Mm-hmm. And many patients, for example, with a stroke or with a disease like multiple sclerosis, like a chronic inflammatory disease, they have it too. And I realized I didn't even, address it and talk with my patients about it. That's kind of like the level of attention this symptom gets in the medical field. And many patients report not being taken seriously, being psychologized. So what patients typically hear is, oh yeah, okay, you have low energy and you appear to be a little bit sad. Are you sure it's not a depression? And I can tell it's very different from having a depression. And so there were not really that many helping points in the traditional medical system, which eventually led me to doing what I do currently. It's like bringing out some patients suffering from fatigue.
So how did you transition out of this, first of all? Because I want to try to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then we can talk about the way that you are teaching and practicing that. How did that heal and shift into normal life again?
Yes. Well, I think the most important ingredient was lots of patience. So I allowed myself to be sick and to have this little energy that I currently had, and really accept it and work myself out step by step. And I think the thing that really helped me once it sank in, and it took me a few months until I was actually doing that, was a technique called pacing, which is like something that you can learn to do yourself to manage the little energy that you have as best as possible and not waste your energy. And
pacing. So what is that specifically?
Yes. Basically, it means that you, to stay in this cell phone battery metaphor, what makes your battery empty and what refuels it, and how much energy you actually have on a given day. So the whole thing starts with just making protocols of your day-to-day business, like what's my level of energy I have in the morning, what's it like in the evening time, and to kind of make a protocol of like, what did I do today, how much exercise did I do, how much mentally exhausting things did I do, how many social situations did I have, how much time did I spend concentrating and focusing, and kind of like learning what is being called your energy envelope. So how much you can actually put in a certain day. And that can be, like in my case, it was like, less than 10% of what I could previously do. So it's kind of also like a hard pill to swallow, accepting that.
Wow.
Yeah,
I imagine that must have a toll on your sense of self-worth.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so much of our identity, especially these days, is tied up in how productive are we and how much can we do on a day-to-day basis. And so being able to have patience and compassion for yourself, give yourself grace for the state that you're in, that probably didn't come easily.
No. Yeah.
So the pacing, that also sounds like something that would be helpful for people that aren't dealing with fatigue.
It's like this big joke that I discovered, like everything I learned about pacing, I think many people could use it in their daily lives. It would be really helpful to in our modern day society where people, just like to go over the limits and overdo things. A little bit pacing would be helpful for everybody.
I feel like it requires a level of awareness that is just so lost and lacking in most day-to-day life. Normally, and I'm speaking from direct experience, it's like I have these tasks to do, I'm gonna do. If I'm tired, coffee, do, tired, coffee, do. It's not a healthy or sustainable lifestyle. So can you talk a little bit about what that awareness exercise looks like, how pacing is actually set up, and how you practice it?
Yes, absolutely. It can be set up in a few ways. Some patients prefer to do it paper and pencil. Take something that looks like a protocol, and you write in the morning, how much energy do I have? You write down all the tasks, and in the end, you do some kind of reflection of what gave me energy, what took energy from me, what's my current baseline level. You need to do it like over a longer period of time, because what's typical in these conditions is that you kind of, if you overdo your energy budget, you don't feel it immediately, so you pretty much can do what you described. You can, I work on my to-do list and do this and this and this, and then there's some time lag, and for many patients it's like the next day they fall into something that is called a crash, or which is called post-exertional malaise. PEM is like the term that patients need to understand and get used to. And that's like the sign, and you get it like after a little bit of a time that you did too much. That's basically how you, and you want to achieve a state where you don't have these crashes. You don't want to fall into these energy holes. And that alone can take some time. You can do it paper and pencil, and there's also digital tools to help you work with that. And that's also something that I've been involved in the last 3 years. I helped build a startup that focuses on fatigue-related disorders, and we brought out a digital health solution for the German market. And it's actually a smartphone app that helps you. One of the main ingredients in that app is help you with pacing. And you kind of track these questions that I told you. You track it in the app. How much energy do I have in the morning? You do a little morning check-in, a little morning check-out. It helps you track what gave you energy, what took energy from you. It comes with lots of little mini exercises to help you regulate your nervous system. Okay. Yes, it's just this tool that can help you deal with that.
So you're tracking all of these different metrics about your energy, and it requires a lot of awareness. So just using it, I assume, is a habit you have to develop. But once you have a consistent amount of days and weeks and months added up, and you have all these different data points, does the app also allow you to have reports and give you feedback on the status? So
exactly.
How does that work?
Exactly. It works exactly like that. It gives you feedback. You can choose a time frame. For example, let's look at last week. How was my energy level on average? Or look at last month. How many crashes did I had? What was my average energy level? And that is super, super useful, because on a day-to-day basis, you keep forgetting and not really realizing. That's one thing. And then you can also export these data to talk about them with your physician, for example, if you have one that
sounds rare.
Support, yeah.
So is that something that you're also helping people with on your own practice, is being able to give them not just medical feedback, but also like experiential feedback?
Yes, it's actually what I'm working on this year. I'm bringing out exactly that.
Okay.
I'm currently working on an online private practice with medically supported pacing for fatigue-related disorders, to do exactly that, because it really helps to talk about it also with another human being who has had the experience, who understands that, and who kind of keeps you going, because it's so frustrating. And it's not fun, really. It's like, really, you wanna go out and enjoy yourself and do all the things and be spontaneous. And pacing kind of makes you be less spontaneous. And plan your day often meticulously. And not being able to meet your friends very often, for example, if that's what drains energy for you, then one of the things that many patients actually say helps, well, I just meet my friends less than I used to, because social situations, they require lots of attention, talking, lots of noise. I need to go there and back, and that can be a big energy taker. Then on the other hand, you don't want to become, a hermit that just lives in a cave and, just watches his smartphone app or his smartwatch or his protocols. I mean, that's not that's not a really fulfilling lifestyle either. So it's
Absolutely.
about kind of like balancing all this out.
So, yeah, I think one thing that's very important to understand about, if we can use the word depression, is there's this, kind of positive feedback loop in a negative direction, where when you don't want to be around people, so you isolate yourself. And then the more you isolate yourself, the more you feel like you're a burden, and you don't want to be around people, so you continue to isolate yourself. You feel like more of a burden, and it doesn't go well. So there must be a balance, I assume, to find between cutting out or just minimizing, reducing social interaction. And that kind of made me want to ask you as well about the mental fatigue versus physical fatigue. Is it the same? Is it across the board the same, or is it more one or the other?
Kind of depends from patient to patient. From a fatigue point of view, many patients report when I'm physically really exhausted and tired, the same goes for my mental state. And when I have lots of energy, it goes both for my physical and for my mental state. But of course, I mean, what you touched upon, mental health and fatigue patients, depression in fatigue patients, that's a super big point, right? And many get a depression on top, which kind of makes this whole topic really complicated, and which, right, may also be why some people say, are you sure you have fatigue? You appear to be pretty depressed for me, and you don't meet your friends anymore, and you draw away from these social activities. And it's super difficult to balance it out, actually, and not to become depressed. And sometimes it's also just good to do something that just is pleasurable for you, gives you fun, even if you go above your energy limits. But you described it right. Otherwise, it's balancing between managing your energy and not cutting out all the positive things in your life.
Yeah, inner and outer are so intertwined. The mind, the brain is literally part of the body, of course. And it's kind of difficult to talk about one without referring to the other, or to distinguish how one, symptom is affecting others, and they all get kind of melded together. So, in your own experience, was it difficult to find that balance of this is the output that I'm used to being able to maintain professionally and socially? I guess this was during COVID, so things were already different. But yeah, how did you find that balance between isolation versus just reduced social interaction?
It was a tough one, because I'm socialized as a medical doctor, and I mean naturally medical doctors tend to work a lot and tend to identify also over, I'm being really productive and industrious, and I help my patients and so on, and not being able to do that. Not because I didn't have, the mental capacities for it, but, just sitting on a chair for more than 20 minutes would be exhausting for me, like in the first few months.
Wow.
So it was like, what do you do? It's challenging. And that's what happens for many patients, they get kind of torn out of their usual work life. They need to find out, like, how do I support myself financially? And maybe they have a family to support. So it is super challenging. Yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot, but what would you recommend to someone in that situation?
It's kind of difficult to give a one-size-fits-all recommendation. Also, I think it also depends greatly on how good your social security system is in the country that you're in. Germany I was actually really happy to be in the German system, because that gives you financial compensation if you're on medical leave for a long time, for more than a year. Wow. So I was like, for the first time in my life, really glad this system exists, because I was able to sustain myself financially and, just take that time that it took me.
I imagine also through the app and through your private practice that a large part of the recovery process is due to support and belief, I think, or the confidence we have in medicine. Just take the placebo effect as an example. Just believing that something is being done for you can play a big role in recovery and healing. So through working with someone like you who has gone through it, come out the other side, has a system in place, there's obviously a team behind this app. How big a role do you think community plays in this? And is a fatigue community something that you are actively developing and facilitating?
Well, the good thing is first of all, you're totally right. And it is, social support is super, super important. And, just, there's not this, one miracle to cure. Take this drug, take this, do this method, take this supplement, and then you're cured. And many patients understand that at some point, but just being taken seriously.
Just being understood. It's not just some nonsense.
Absolutely not. And
I'm just feeling lazy. I'm just depressed. It's something that's actually a physiological.
People believing you and having had that same experience can be super, super important. And there is fortunately a big self-help community out there, and many of the things that I now work on with my patients, I actually learned from the self-help community. I understood what pacing is. No medical doctor told me this. And I learned all this from other patients.
Gotcha.
And there's all kinds of online groups. There's like physical groups, but online works actually really well in the fatigue space because you don't have to go anywhere. And that's also like one aspect of pacing. Do I really need to go to, let's say, to the supermarket, or can I order online? Do I really need to go to my medical doctor, or can I do the same thing online? Because the whole way there, going there back and forth, waiting and so on, that can be a big thing that takes energy from you.
I have a lot of energy, and that still drains me.
Yes.
Can you talk about like the 4 Ps of pacing?
Exactly.
Just break it down for people.
Yes. So let's give our listeners something practical. And I like to use 2 concepts in particular. So you talked about the 4 Ps, and the 4 Ps stand for pacing, for prioritizing, for planning, and for pausing. So pacing, I think we already said what it's actually about: smart energy management over the course of a long time. That lets you really understand, where is my energy envelope, where are my limits, how do I not fall into these energy holes, into these crashes, understanding what gives me energy and what takes energy from me. Then prioritizing is also like a big thing. Like, do I really need to do this thing today? Do I need to do it at all? Can somebody else do it for me? Can I delegate it? And if I really have to do it, when do I plan for it?
Makes a lot of sense. Dude, that's high performer domain 101. Not just fatigue, but this is extremely important for both.
Exactly. So there's, for example, stuff like the Eisenhower matrix. Maybe you heard of it. So
I can't remember what it is.
It's like this 2x2 kind of thing, and you have the important and urgent matters on the top left quadrant. You have the not so important and urgent ones. You have the not urgent but important matters, and not important and not urgent matters. And then, of course, you mostly focus on the urgent and important matters. Then the 3rd P, planning. You need to plan your day, and maybe I only have energy like for 2 hours in total, with many breaks in between, that I can, for example, focus on my computer, focus on my screen. What are the most important things that I'm going to do in these 2 hours? In a way, once you realize it as a positive challenge, you can actually see it as a game and try to make, honestly, like the best out of it.
That's interesting. Yeah. That would take a shift, but I imagine, obviously gamification is one of the best ways to get anyone to do anything, engage with any type of, especially growth protocol.
Yeah.
So I like that. Yes. Looking at it like a game.
Yes.
And the last P?
And the last P is actually pausing. How do you do real pauses, Perry? What do your pauses look like? Are they actually super exciting? I had to learn how to pause. Wow. I didn't do it properly. When I thought I'd make a pause, I would still be on my phone. I would still be listening to some music. I would still be, looking at things. I would go to a loud cafe with lots of background noise. All not a good way to pause. You want to have little sensory input. You certainly want to switch your phone off. No noise. So many people use earplugs, noise-canceling headphones, block out vision, and then you put these real pauses, and maybe find out which kind of lengths work for you. For me, it's like 20 to 30 minutes works fine. That kind of gives me more energy, and it doesn't put me in this, okay, now I'm going to go to sleep mode. It's a little bit different for anybody else. And then you plan, going back to the other P, you plan your day, and you plan, let's say, 4 genuine pauses during the course of the days. Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
This is so much, to me, this is just speaking to my heart. I also will practice kind of sense withdrawal, where I'll take 20, 30 minutes. And I do this maybe 4 or 5 times a week. It's I wish I did it more. I would like to. I should plan to do it more. But yeah, I will put the eye mask on, dark room, I'll put some singing bowls playing in the background or some binaural beats, and just lay there and feel my body, just feel my breath moving in and out. And then the mind will start to think, I'm like, okay, let me just go ahead and plan what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. And that always leaves me more drained. And so I constantly have to remind myself, no, the planning will be there in 20 minutes.
Yes.
The brain, I will know what to do when this is over. But while I'm pausing, I'm gonna pause.
Yeah.
And you're right, that's a skill you have to develop. You have to learn how to stop. Interesting.
Yes.
So you said there were 2 methods.
Yes.
What's the second one?
And the other one is even more simple.
Great.
And difficult at the same time.
Great.
And everybody who listens to the podcast, I invite you guys to just try it out. And I call it the 20 marbles exercise. So imagine you have in your right pocket 20 marbles, and every marble represents a certain amount of energy that you have for this day. So you start with 20, and every time you do some kind of activity that takes a little bit of your energy from you move one marble from the from the right pocket to the left pocket. And the goal is to have one marble left in the right pocket at the end of the day. Don't overdo it. Keep one in the end. So, for example, now we're recording this podcast, and that might take me in my individual energy limit. May take me 4 marbles from my right pocket to my left one. Right? And for many patients, it's actually like they get up, they brush their teeth, and maybe take a shower. Already 7 marbles gone.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like the kind of level. Yeah.
So part of the pacing is and the tracking is calibrating, how many marbles you've got.
And calibrating is exactly the right word, because like today my 20 marbles may mean I can do this and this so much, but maybe tomorrow it looks completely different. And what one marble represents is only half of what it meant yesterday. It's like the next level of becoming more difficult.
So going back to like the app, like the digital biomarkers and like the visible concept, can you talk a little bit more about how that's integrated into the app?
Yes. So the app that I talked about is actually called the Femo Health app, and it's available currently in the German market. That kind of like works mostly with what you track subjectively. So you track what your symptoms are like, what your fatigue is like, what your energy level is like. So that's one way to do it. And then the other thing that many patients work with, and what also works pretty well, is data from wearables, for example, smartwatches or smart rings or like the Whoop armband or something. And the parameter that many focus on here is heart rate variability. And maybe you're somebody who does a lot of exercise and who is in the physical training world. And many people who do sports use this marker to find out how much to train and how much to exercise. And it seems to work pretty well also for your level of fatigue. It's often named a little bit different depending on which kind of smartwatch you have. For example, in the Garmin system, they have designed something, it's called the body battery. And I tried that out for a while, and I think it works surprisingly well. And it's like it gives you like how much energy you have in percent based on your smartwatch. And basically, I think mostly they use heart rate variability, potentially a few other parameters like peak heart rate during the day. Step count can be something really interesting for you also to watch and to understand how many thousand steps can I do during the course of the day, which amount puts me maybe into a crash the next day.
So heart rate variability. From my understanding, which I'm not extremely educated in the biohacking space and all, but it's very common. HRV is a very common metric that people look into. So essentially, it is the ability for your body to experience stress and then return to a state of rest, right? So your heart rate can accelerate rapidly and decelerate rapidly. Can you give a little bit more, insight into HRV and why it is so important for the nervous system and for regulating energy?
It really is what you said. It's about your autonomous nervous system. So the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic is the fight and flight. You see the lion out there. Your heart rate accelerates. You want to be really active. And parasympathetic nervous system is the one that lets you rest and digest. Take some rest, recover, and you want to be be able to access this recovery space, this parasympathetic space. That's what you want to be able to access when necessary. And apparently that's the whole autonomous nervous system regulation is something that seems to be out of control in many fatigue patients, which is why focusing on HRV can be really helpful in understanding what makes it high heart rate variability means you can pretty much adapt well to phases of action and then relaxation, and then low HRV means, to put it like in oversimple terms, you're more constantly in this stress mode, and you don't want that in fatigue.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
One of the things I really love about Qigong, which is basically like mindful movement, like meditative movement, something I've been practicing for years, is how deeply it places your awareness inside of the body. And I call this somatic attention. So body awareness, the internal body. You're really feeling like the channels of interoception and proprioception. Interoception is like, your heart beating, your breath, your blood vessels constricting, all these different internal, data markers, and also proprioception, which is where how you know where your body is in space. Like how you can touch your nose with your eyes closed or walk upstairs without looking at your feet. So when you focus on these two channels of internal sensory data, the part of your brain that's normally thinking all the time, right? The default mode network, where it's very helpful, of course. Like we need it to plan and to organize our life, right? But a lot of times it's out of control. It's compulsively running. And so it's not about annihilating it, it's about regulating it. And so by placing your awareness inside of your body, activating somatic attention, you're siphoning the neural resources out of that part of the brain into something called the salience network, right? Because the brain operates under resource scarcity. It only has so many resources to distribute. And so the default mode network is extremely metabolically taxing. It takes a lot of energy to run all these complex, abstract thought loops.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely.
20% of the brain, of our daily metabolic expenditure comes from the brain. So when you place your awareness inside of the body, that just immediately quiets down. And this other part, they can see it light up on an fMRI machine. And specifically the anterior insula is what kind of becomes activated. It's what processes your raw sensory data with your emotional cognitive processing. And so my point with all this is it has a dramatic impact on your nervous system.
Absolutely.
It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, increases your vagal tone, which is measured through HRV. So can you talk a little bit more about like the specific nervous system neurological impacts that having a strong HRV has on the body, like inflammation and all these different things? Because it's a wide-reaching impact.
It is super far-reaching, and it has big impact on how well the immune system can do its job, very basically said, right? If you're constantly in a stress mode, your immune system will show higher inflammation rates. So you want to be able to access these like states of deep relaxation, of also maybe not being too much in your head and not overthinking too much. Just be. You want to exactly to cultivate these states. And different techniques here work for different people. Well, you just mentioned Qigong, which is a fantastic technique that is really well, and many patients in the fatigue space, they find out that stuff like Qigong or a certain kind of yoga, not the super active one where you sweat for 90 minutes, but more like the soft, gentle movements, that kind of stuff that helps them access this. Mm-hmm.
So I think that's very helpful for a lot of people to understand is, there's real neurological and physiological benefits from slowing down.
Oh, yeah.
From coming out of your mind, taking this pause, right? And yeah, I think it gives your mind a little bit more motivation to actually do it. Mm-hmm. So just hearing you, talk about this is, especially like the 4 Ps, there's a reason to do it.
Yes.
And it's so much more than just the fatigue space too. Mm-hmm. This is really like critical. Yes. I almost want to start using this to coach my high performers with like 4 Ps.
It's so funny because like many people who I share these concepts with, and I've been like on 2 other podcasts like last year, and the podcast host like we're saying the exact same. This is so cool. I should do it.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Well, talking about the neural resources and how much energy the mind takes, I think it kind of ties into something that we've spoken about before, which is this. How do you like to phrase it?
Yes. So it's actually what I like to call not only managing to plan your activities and daily levels, but also to think in an energy efficient way, energy efficient thinking. And for that, I discovered a method that works, in my opinion, like super fantastically. And I actually discovered it here on this island on Koh Phangan. And it's so good that I need to bring this into the Western world and share it with as many people as possible. And this method, it's based on the method by Byron Katie. It's an inquiry-based technique that you can learn yourself pretty quickly. So it doesn't take that. You don't need 25 hours psychotherapy or so. You can pick it up like really quickly and then do it by yourself. And it also works if you have little energy. All you need is lay on the couch, maybe a piece of pen and paper.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So energy efficient thinking, we're reclaiming our cognitive resources to be able to live more presently and to also have a stronger immune system, stronger nervous system.
Yes.
So you said it, it's an inquiry system, so that sounds like it's going to make me think more.
Yes.
So can you explain how it actually helps you reclaim those?
I can explain, or we could actually do it. do it with a live example with one stressful.
I love it. It's like a board game. Like you'll learn by playing.
Exactly.
Walk me through the process, and we'll do it together.
Beautiful, wonderful. And so the first thing you need to do in this process is you need to identify one stressful situation that you may have had with another human being. Could be. And we're looking really for down-to-earth, simple things. Maybe a friend that disappointed you. Maybe somebody who didn't text you back when you sent them a message. Or something like anything that kind of triggers you or pushes your buttons.
Got it.
Is there any situation that comes to mind?
Yeah. No, a friend of mine, like a really good friend of mine, just blocked me. On all messaging apps and social media and all, just completely out of the blue.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and that's still, it still makes me feel like, what the heck, man?
Okay.
Yeah, that triggers me.
Okay. Very understandable. I would be the same for me. So now
don't block me.
You'll see. So now, if you want to use this situation and try out this inquiry method, energy efficient thinking method, which advice would you have for your friend? He should or he shouldn't? We're looking for just really simple sentence here.
Yeah. I would say so I can say should or shouldn't, either
Yes.
one. He should communicate. That's it. He should communicate his feelings.
He should communicate his feelings with you.
With me.
Yes. Okay. He should communicate. And let's try out this method with this sentence.
Okay.
So there you are in the situation. Your friend has just blocked you. And you're like, wow. And you're having the thought, he should communicate his feelings with me. So now I'm going to walk you through this process. And the first question is, he should communicate his feelings with you. Is it true?
This is like my subjective perspective.
Yes. Your internal.
I think it's true. Yeah, I think you should. To someone that you're really good friends with, yeah, you should communicate your feelings with him.
He should communicate his feelings with you. Can you absolutely be sure that it's true?
No, I guess not.
And how do you react? What happens when you have the thought, he should communicate his feelings with you, and he blocked you? He doesn't want to communicate his feelings with you.
How do I react to it?
How do you react?
Initially, well, just insane confusion, and then anger. But then I know that anger always covers up pain. So then I acknowledge that, like, I'm hurt. And then there was some sadness, and then more anger. Yeah, so just kind of this cocktail of, like, confusion, anger, and, like, pain and sadness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And in this question, we want to, just notice what happens in you. How do you treat your friend when you have the thought, he should communicate his feelings with me, and this guy doesn't communicate his feelings?
How do
you treat him?
Oh, how do I treat him? You mean, like, do I communicate with him? Or
Could be like actual treating, or could be mentally treating him.
Okay, in this moment.
In this moment.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so initially it was, just like frantically trying to figure out what happened, and then it became like just a big middle finger, like screw you. I'm gonna hit you next time I see you. Just like, what the hell? But then I've adjusted it. Obviously, I know that's not healthy, and I allowed myself to feel that, but I adjusted it to now. I understand, like, it's something inside of you, and you wouldn't have done that if you weren't hurt. So somehow I did something to hurt you, and that means that you're in pain, and I'm sorry about that, and I don't want that for you, and I want the best for you. So I try to flip the inner middle finger to an inner sense of I see you, and I want the best for you. So
okay,
yeah,
okay. But and that sounds really beautiful. And initially, it does sound though that as you want to tell him what to do, and also angry at him, and so.
Yeah, I'm telling you that because this happened months ago. So I'm telling you the whole progression. But maybe you're looking for one specific thing.
So
like in the moment,
in this moment, we're already looking in this moment when you have this thought.
Yeah, when I'm triggered, right. So not how I've healed it. The trigger thought is screw you.
Yes. Okay. And this thought, he should communicate his feelings with you, and he doesn't at this moment. Does it bring you peace or stress?
The screw you thought?
The thought that he should communicate his feelings with you.
I guess stress. Yeah.
Now we come to question number 4. Would you be in the same situation without the thought that he should communicate his feelings with you?
Who would I be? I'd be a lot more peaceful. I can do what he wants.
He can be in his journey.
Yeah.
Why ever he chose to block you.
Yeah. Why do I need that validation of what part of me is needing him to say that, to express that? Yeah, it's definitely an internal projection.
Yeah. So I hear more peaceful without the thought. So that was the first step in this energy efficient thinking thing. And now we're going to move to the next. There's 4 questions.
Oh, say those 4 questions for me.
Questions are, is it true?
Okay.
Can you absolutely know that it's true? how do you react? What happens when you believe the thought? And who would you be without that thought?
Got it.
Yes. And now we move kind of to the next phase, and here we explore something called the turnarounds. And this is like a little mental yoga exercise. So we're gonna go like into a yoga asana with this thought. We just assume a different mental position. And the first thing that I suggest we just try and experiment with is he should not communicate his feelings with you, which is like the exact opposite of what you said. He should not communicate his feelings with you. And now I ask you to see if you can find any examples why, for this turnaround, any examples why he shouldn't communicate his feelings with you.
Maybe communicating his feelings would drain him of too much energy, and he's going through enough already that he doesn't need to have this conversation, this emotionally taxing conversation.
Could well be, right? He should not communicate his feelings with you.
Still looking for more reasons?
Yeah, do you have another example? You're supposed to find 3 examples if you can.
Okay, 3. He's being held as a hostage at gunpoint.
That sounds a little bit speculative.
That would be a good reason, though.
Doesn't sound like that would be. But we're looking for genuine examples. He should not communicate his feelings.
Maybe it would hurt me. Maybe there's something he's protecting me from.
Could be.
And maybe a third one would be, maybe there's, nothing to really communicate. Maybe it's just a decision and he just wants to leave. Maybe there's something to talk about.
Yes. So he has freedom of speech, right? So he can talk about his feelings or not if he wants to. He should not if he doesn't want to. He should not communicate his feelings if he's not ready for it. And why could it be better for you if he doesn't communicate his feelings?
It would be better for me. Yeah. Well, I would get to learn how to deal with this unresolved emotion or unresolved situation, which is, if he had explained everything from the beginning, I wouldn't have gone through this process and learned how to internally navigate it and reposition my perspective and open my heart in the midst of pain. So it gave me a chance to grow.
That sounds like a really good example for me. Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then I guess, so we're looking for 3?
I think we have 3.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
But if you think...
No, that's good. That's fine.
Okay, we want to do another turnaround?
Sure.
I should communicate my feelings to him.
3 reasons why.
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah,
3
absolutely.
examples.
Well, I did try. I did.
Good.
Yeah.
How did you do it? Yeah, I think he blocked you.
Well, I called his dad, his girlfriend.
Wow.
I sent him an email.
Wow.
Talked to some friends of his. I messaged everyone I knew that knew him, but knew us both, and what happened? Yeah, so I reached out to I tried every avenue, to...
And it's what you want for him. You just do it yourself. I should communicate my feeling. Hey man, I feel really hurt. That hurt when you blocked me. Just want to share with you.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and I even kind of imagined what maybe I apologized for something I didn't really know if I should be apologizing for, but I just wanted to just to get it out there, perhaps it's because I'm self-centered.
No, it sounds like the reasonable thing to do for me. It sounds pretty good.
No, I'm saying that maybe he felt like I was just too self-centered. So maybe that was the reason. So I apologize for being so self-centered. Yeah.
And now the third turnaround would be, I should communicate my feelings to myself.
I should communicate my feelings to myself. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
like this becoming angry at him, pointing the finger at him, wanting him to do things. All interesting things to notice.
Yeah, so with that third turnaround, you're essentially looking for reasons to back it up.
With this third turnaround, you're trying to put action more in your business back again. And what you wanted from him, he should communicate his feelings with you. You just take it back to yourself. Oh, maybe he shouldn't do it. I should communicate it to myself.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I mean, he's not there to do it. Apparently, he doesn't want to do it for whichever the reason. So who's there?
Wow.
Who's left?
Yeah, of course.
It's gonna be me.
Yeah, and I always look at like forgiveness as setting a prisoner free and realizing that was yourself. If you don't forgive, I mean, that's someone else's quote, but if you don't, if you hold on to resentment, that's poison inside of your heart.
Yes.
It's not going into their heart. I mean, you know, we're all the same consciousness, maybe it is, but no, you're poisoning yourself by not forgiving, by holding on to resentment. So I think it's very important. So this is reclaiming not just, you know, cognitive resources. This is like also emotional therapy. This is deep. This is really deep.
Yes.
So you have a statement. You have a perspective, something that's triggering you, something you think should or shouldn't be. Then you ask, is it true? Is it absolutely true? How does it make me feel?
How do you react? What happens?
How do I react?
How do I react? What happens when I believe this thought?
When I believe this thought. And then who would I be without the thought? Okay. So that's stage one.
That's stage one.
Stage two is these turnarounds, these mental yoga asanas, where you are basically, first of all, just completely reversing the statement and looking for 3 reasons why that could be true. That is powerful.
And that's very powerful.
Yeah, because it forces you to look from a different perspective.
Exactly. It kind of like gives you the full perspective. And the metaphor that I like to use, imagine a lighthouse by the coast, you know, and this lighthouse, it just points out to this one point out on the ocean. It's very narrow focus. And then this method lets you kind of like let the light shine all the way, like 360 degrees, and lets you look into the areas where you usually don't like to look. Because
I like that.
I know, he should do it, and he's like that, and you know, that's like how we get into the story, you know, and this measure, and you just, you know, just did one sentence, and takes a little bit of practice. You can, for example, examine one of your thoughts per day. There's a nice way to start. It's also like a whole worksheet that kind of like gives a little bit more material in this situation with your friend, structures it in a certain way, and essentially it lets you gain a bigger perspective. And what I noticed when I started practicing this method, like this amount of thinking that happened automatically, it greatly decreased.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Which is basically what all the meditation teachers, what the Buddha and what Eckhart Tolle and all the great spiritual names like tell you about this this method is like really simple and down to earth way to get there.
Yeah, because it basically removes the fuel source behind this compulsive, just egotistical narrative. And it allows you to expand beyond your current perception, which I think expanding your perception of life is the fundamental rule to grow.
Yes.
You have to be able to perceive things you can't normally or currently perceive. And in order to, you know, understand that your perspective is just one out of an infinite amount of viewpoints, requires you to be larger than thought. You have to be able to examine, and this is what, you know, why great leaders have a cabinet of members around them, even people that they disagree with, right? So that they can understand an important topic from every perspective before they make a decision. So it makes a lot of sense. So it requires maybe a little bit of energy to perform it, but then it allows you, has this residual exponential increase of...
Exactly. And now we were just focusing on a personal situation, and probably like everybody has a friend like this who doesn't reply, that blocked them or did something that he didn't do it. And eventually, and I would suggest starting with these personal situations because they're, you know, they're palpable, they're, you know, easy to find out. And evaluate you can also evaluate or use this method on some thoughts you may have about your current situation. If you're dealing with a chronic disease, I shouldn't be sick. Is that true?
Wow.
I should have more energy. Well, apparently right now, not more than you got in this certain moment. So that it was like a real game changer when I applied this.
Wow.
And that's maybe, step 2, like second level. But it would really, really help me to accept the state that I'm in and not to mentally argue with reality all the time.
Wow. So this is something that you teach
Yes.
in your private practice.
Yeah.
Wow, very powerful. So you've got the experience of fatigue, you've got the medical background that allows you to understand a little bit more about what's actually happening, as well as how to treat it better. You have the app and the different systems in place, a community as well, and this method for reframing the situation in a way that doesn't constantly drain even more resources. Because there's nothing, we all know that, the victim mentality is the furthest thing from helpful for anything. So I imagine that helps you kind of remove yourself from that state of victimhood into a state of acceptance. And when you stop resisting something, people don't realize it takes energy to resist. That's why what you resist persists. Like, it takes energy to resist something. So therefore, when you can accept it, you have more energy. And so it's a little bit stronger healing source. I imagine it compounds over time.
It does.
Yeah. So is there anything else kind of to fill in this this holistic approach that you have to fatigue?
There is more, of course. There's like some more, medical specifics, some diagnostics to focus on, some, supplements. But that's all kind of like really specific and like it's a little bit difficult maybe to generalize on it. Of course, there's also some more medical things to focus on, but like I think the general framework we covered quite beautifully. And well, thanks for giving me the space, and it's just so great talking to you about it and hearing your perspective and discussing about it. It's beautiful.
Beautiful. You filled the space perfectly, and I have a lot more insight, not just into fatigue, but also in how to manage my own life and energy. And I'm curious, like, are there any resources that you would point people to continue to learn about this? And how can people connect with you and learn more about what you have to offer?
Well, the easiest way to connect with me is probably on LinkedIn. It's going to be Thomas Lenzen, ThomasLenzen. And I'm currently building my homepage, so that's not really out there yet. And if you write me a message, I'll be happy to point. If you find any of this interesting from our conversation, I'll be super happy to point you in the direction that you're looking for.
Awesome. Thomas, thank you for your time.
Perry, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.